In the darkest layers of the ocean, where sunlight is nothing more than a fading memory, something extraordinary moves through the silence. A creature with no bones, no shell, no permanent shape. Yet behind its shifting form lies a mind that science is only now beginning to understand, and it is forcing researchers to confront a disturbing possibility. We were wrong about how intelligent octopuses really think. For decades, they were labeled as clever invertebrates, problem solvers, escape artists, curious anomalies in the ocean's evolutionary story. But what if that was only the surface of something far more complex, something we were never meant to easily decode? To understand this mystery, we descend into their world. A world of pressure so extreme it crushes metal. A world of shifting coral labyrinths, volcanic rock corridors, and drifting shadows where every movement could mean survival or disappearance. Here, in these alien underwater cities, lives one of nature's most elusive minds, the octopus. At first glance, it appears almost fragile. A soft-bodied being pulsing gently through water, its arms trailing like drifting smoke. Its skin is alive with changing patterns, ripples of color that bloom and vanish in milliseconds. But this is not decoration. It is communication. It is camouflage. It is thought made visible. And it is only the beginning. Recent underwater observations have revealed something unsettling. Octopuses do not simply react to their environment. They appear to anticipate it. In controlled environments, they solve puzzles without trial and error in the way most animals do. They pause, observe, then act with precision that suggests something deeper than instinct. As if they are not learning the problem, but recognizing the structure of it. For a long time, scientists believed intelligence required a centralized brain like ours. A command center, a hierarchy of control. But the octopus challenges that assumption entirely, because 2/3 of its neurons are not in its head. They are spread throughout its arms. Each arm can taste, touch, and react independently. Severed limbs have even been observed continuing to explore objects, as if fragments of decision-making still linger within them. It raises a disturbing question. Is the octopus a single mind controlling 8 limbs? Or 8 semi-independent minds connected to one fragile center? In the cold waters off the Pacific coast, researchers once observed an octopus inside a laboratory tank. It was placed in a simple enclosure with a sealed jar containing food. The creature approached slowly, not rushing, not panicking. It wrapped 2 arms around the jar, rotating it gently. Another arm explored the lid. Then, something unexpected happened. It stopped, completely still. For several seconds, there was no movement at all. Then, with deliberate precision, it adjusted its grip and applied force in a direction that was not random, but optimal. The jar opened. What followed was not excitement or chaos, but calm retrieval of food, as if the outcome had been predicted long before the action was taken. This behavior is what is forcing scientists to reconsider everything they thought they knew about invertebrate cognition. Because instinct does not pause. Instinct does not evaluate. Instinct reacts. But the octopus appears to hesitate, as if running internal simulations of possible outcomes before committing to a decision. And in the wild, where hesitation can mean death, this ability becomes even more remarkable. In the coral reefs of Indonesia and the hidden kelp forests of the Pacific, octopuses are not passive survivors. They are active hunters in a world filled with predators far larger and faster than themselves. They use intelligence as their primary weapon. One documented hunting strategy reveals something almost unsettling. An octopus approaches a crab hiding in a crevice. Instead of attacking directly, it begins to reshape its body. It flattens itself into impossible forms, testing angles of entry, probing the structure of the rock. Then, without warning, it releases a jet of water into the crevice, not to flush the prey, but to manipulate its perception. The crab reacts. It shifts position. And in that single moment of hesitation, the octopus strikes. This is not brute force hunting. It is behavioral manipulation, a form of underwater strategy that blurs the line between instinct and planning. Even more mysterious is what happens when octopuses encounter novelty. In controlled studies, when presented with unfamiliar objects, some individuals do not approach immediately. They observe from a distance. They change color patterns rapidly, almost as if processing emotional states or internal uncertainty. Then, in some cases, they perform something unexpected. They retreat. Not from fear alone, but from what appears to be assessment failure, an inability to categorize the object. This suggests a cognitive process far more advanced than simple stimulus response. It suggests categorization, memory, possibly even something resembling curiosity. But where did such intelligence come from? Evolutionarily, octopuses are ancient. Their lineage stretches back hundreds of millions of years, long before mammals dominated land. They evolved in isolation from vertebrates, developing a completely different neural architecture. While mammals built intelligence around long-term social structures and centralized brains, octopuses evolved in a world of solitary survival. No parents to teach them. No herd to protect them. No community to share knowledge. Every octopus begins life alone and ends life the same way. So intelligence here was not shaped for communication or cooperation. It was shaped for survival in isolation. And that may be why it feels so alien to us. Because it did not evolve to think like us. It evolved to outthink the ocean itself. Yet even now, scientists admit something troubling. We still cannot reliably predict what an octopus will do next. Not in complex environments. Not even in simplified experiments designed specifically to test behavior. There are moments where their actions appear almost playful. Other moments where they seem strategic. And then, without warning, behavior shifts again, becoming erratic, exploratory, or inexplicably cautious. As if multiple modes of intelligence are switching beneath the surface. As if we are observing not a single consistent mind, but a system we have not yet learned how to read. And somewhere in the depths, beyond human reach, countless octopuses continue to move through shadowed reefs and volcanic trenches, solving the problem of existence in real time. Without instruction, without guidance, without explanation. And with every new discovery, the ocean seems to whisper the same unsettling truth back to us. We were wrong about how intelligent octopuses really think, and we may only now be beginning to understand why. The deeper scientists look into the octopus mind, the more unstable their certainty becomes. Because what they are uncovering does not fit neatly into any known model of intelligence on Earth. It does not resemble mammalian reasoning. It does not resemble insect instinct. It seems to sit somewhere in between and beyond both. And the most unsettling part is not what octopuses do. It is what they might be experiencing. In recent laboratory studies, researchers observed something that challenged a long-standing assumption about animal cognition. Octopuses in controlled tanks were not only solving problems, they were changing their strategies after failure in ways that suggested memory of past outcomes. Not simple repetition, not reinforcement alone, but adjustment, a quiet recalibration of behavior that implies something closer to internal modeling. As if each mistake is not discarded, but integrated. This is where the mystery deepens. Because memory in most animals is tied to centralized neural structures. But in octopuses, memory appears distributed, stored not in one location, but across a nervous system that extends into every limb. Each arm, in a sense, may remember differently. And this raises a question that borders on philosophical instability. If different parts of the same body hold different fragments of experience, then where, exactly, does the self exist? In the cold laboratories of marine biology institutes, scientists have documented another phenomenon that complicates this question even further. An octopus that has repeatedly interacted with a human caretaker begins to show behavior that is difficult to categorize as purely instinctual. It does not approach all humans equally. It reacts differently to individuals who feed it versus those who observe it silently. It recognizes patterns, remembers, and sometimes it appears to engage. Not in the social sense we understand from dolphins or primates, but in a more ambiguous, interpretive way. a pause at the glass. A change in color that lingers longer than necessary. An arm extending slowly, not toward food, but toward observation. Is this curiosity? Or is it something else entirely, something we lack the language to define? In the wild, octopuses reveal even stranger behaviors. In shallow reef environments, some individuals have been observed collecting coconut shells, seashell fragments, and even discarded human objects. They do not simply hide inside them. They arrange them, positioning pieces in ways that suggest anticipation of future use. A behavior that edges dangerously close to what we call tool use. But unlike primates, which use tools within social traditions, the octopus does so in isolation. There is no teacher, no imitation culture. Each discovery appears to be made independently, as if intelligence itself is being reinvented again and again inside each individual organism. And then there is sleep. One of the most surprising discoveries in recent years came not from hunting behavior or problem-solving, but from rest. High-resolution recordings of octopuses during sleep have revealed rapid changes in skin color, shifting patterns that pulse across the body even when the animal is motionless. At times, the patterns resemble hunting behavior. At other times, defensive displays. And occasionally, entirely unfamiliar sequences that do not match any observed waking behavior. This has led scientists to propose a controversial idea. That octopuses may experience something analogous to dreaming. If true, it would suggest that their brains are not only processing survival, but internally simulating reality, reconstructing it, rewriting it. But even here, certainty collapses quickly. Because we cannot ask them what they experience. We can only observe the surface of something that may be far more complex beneath. And beneath the surface, the octopus nervous system continues to defy expectations. Each arm can execute movement without direct instruction from the central brain. Experiments have shown that severed arms can still respond to stimuli for extended periods, searching, grasping, and reacting as if embedded decision-making persists within local neural circuits. This distributed intelligence creates a system unlike anything else known in vertebrate biology. It is not hierarchical. It is not centralized. It is decentralized awareness spread across a living network of tissue. Which brings us to one of the most profound questions in modern marine science. If intelligence is not confined to a single brain, then what defines the boundary of thought? Evolution offers only partial answers. The ancestors of modern octopuses diverged from other mollusks hundreds of millions of years ago, in ancient oceans that bore little resemblance to today's ecosystems. Shell-bearing ancestors slowly gave way to soft-bodied forms. Over time, protective armor was abandoned in favor of flexibility, speed, and camouflage. This evolutionary trade came at a cost. Without a shell, survival required constant adaptation. And so intelligence became armor. Camouflage became language. Behavior became strategy. In this way, the ocean itself may have shaped the octopus mind into something entirely unique, a system designed not for dominance, but for disappearance. Yet despite this extraordinary adaptation, octopuses remain among the most vulnerable intelligent creatures on Earth. Their lives are short. Most species survive only 1 to 2 years. Some die shortly after reproduction. Entire lifetimes compressed into brief bursts of intense learning, adaptation, and survival. This temporal pressure may be one reason their intelligence feels so different from ours. There is no long-term accumulation across generations through teaching. There is only the immediate necessity of adaptation. And yet, within that brief existence, they achieve something extraordinary. They solve problems we designed specifically to confuse them. They escape enclosures that seem secure. They explore environments with a level of unpredictability that continues to frustrate scientific prediction models. Even advanced behavioral algorithms fail to consistently forecast their actions. Because octopus intelligence does not behave like a fixed system. It behaves like a shifting one. A mind that may reconfigure itself depending on context, environment, and internal state. Some researchers have even suggested that octopuses might represent a fundamentally different evolutionary solution to intelligence itself, one that does not rely on continuity of identity, but on fluidity, on constant reinvention. And this is where the mystery becomes almost uncomfortable, because the closer we study octopuses, the less stable our definitions become. Intelligence, consciousness, memory, selfhood. Each concept begins to blur at the edges. And beneath it all, the ocean continues its endless motion, hiding answers in places where human observation cannot easily follow. In deep trenches where pressure distorts perception. In coral labyrinths where light fractures into illusion. In shifting shadows where something watches back through multiple eyes that do not think as one, but as many. And still, the most important question remains unanswered. Are we observing a mind that simply evolved differently, or a form of intelligence so alien in structure that our current science is not yet capable of recognizing it fully? For now, the octopus offers no clarification. Only movement, only change, only silence beneath the waves. And as it disappears into the darkness once again, it leaves us with a final, lingering uncertainty. Not about the ocean, but about intelligence itself. Because if we were wrong about how octopuses think, then what else in the natural world have we misunderstood all along?